Okay, well, welcome. Thanks for coming in and talking to me.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, today we have Orion Parker, who is fantastic. If you don't know about him, get to know about him. He's amazing. You're one of the first guys that I met when I moved into town.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
It's been like over 10 years?
I've been here almost 12 years.
Okay, well then maybe it would be 12 because that's about the time I started my entrepreneurial journey, and that was about the time we met. So
Yeah. How'd you get involved with becoming an entrepreneur? I know you were. What did you tell us?
Well, my dad and my family were kind of serial entrepreneurs to a degree. You know, my dad's been a surveyor for 40 plus years, and I grew up watching him run the businesses of surveying, and I got to tie redheads as a kid, sitting on the couch, you know, and participate in that business model a little bit. My grandfather was also an entrepreneur, and he'd done things like Nickin and things like that, but he also had traditional style businesses. So I kind of grew up around the free enterprise lifestyle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had been pretty successful in the automotive career. I had been in it for a good 15 years before I decided to leave, and in 2010 I was recognized as one of the top producers for auto parts sales. And I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
But then I also realized that corporate America is tough, and they treat you like a number most of the time. And the company was actually bought out, and they cut my pay. I was kind of surprised. I couldn't believe it. I literally put them on the map, and they cut my pay. And they literally said, "We don't pay that for that position, even though the old company that we bought out did. So take it or leave it." And it hit me right then and there that I wasn't in control of my destiny. And I was a young single dad at the time. I was in my early 20s, and I was like, I can change now if I choose to. I can do something different right now if I choose to. And so I started paying more attention to those figures in my life that were, you know, blazing the path of entrepreneurship. And I took a chance and found an opportunity, and then just started chipping away at it. And after a few years, I was able to walk away from corporate America because I had the belief and the drive that I could do something more.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that really stands out to me that you said, you're like, I can change this now. And taking action on your life and just making a decision. Decisions happen in an instant. And change happens in an instant. Once you decide to make that change, you can make huge changes in your life just like you did.
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't matter if it comes down to a nutrition, a belief, a lifestyle, a business. The decision to make a difference comes right from within. Right? But we've got to continue to grow that because we're going to have the challenges, right? We've got to continue to grow as a person so we can grow in these goals and these things that we want to do. But I had just got to the pain point where I was like, enough is enough. And it was pain that was causing me to grow. And someone's like, hey, read a book. And I'm like, yeah, right. You know, and I hadn't read a book since high school. And they're like, hey, if you don't want to be successful, then don't read. And so I was like, well, that's not going to be an option. I got to do something different, right? Yeah. And so I started to read. I read one book on entrepreneurship, and I'll never forget. It changed my life forever. Now I've read more than I can count.
What was it? What did you read?
It was Business of the 21st Century by Robert Kiyosaki. And the biggest thing is it talked about the cash flow quadrant and the different areas where our money comes from. And I was always staying on the left side of the quadrant, trading time for money. And it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I can do something different. I don't have to stay over here. Right. And I learned about residual income. And at the time, the word residual was just like dirt under my fingernails from all the hard work in the automotive industry, right? That was how I thought of residual. I didn't think do something once and get paid a couple times more for it or beyond. And so that shifted my paradigm. But I realized I had to grow to become a person that could effectively build a business that I could get that. Because it's just a concept until it's put into works, right? But that changed me. I was like, I know that I can change now if I choose to, if I decide to.
Now, I know what you started doing because we talked about it 12 years ago. But tell everybody, what was it? What did you end up going into that really changed everything?
So before I get into that, I really believe that people are smart enough to make their own decisions given the right information. And in the auto parts world, I just believe in educating my clients and saying, hey, this is the cheap part, this is the nice part, here's the difference, what would you like, what are your goals, what are you doing with the vehicle? And they always made a good decision. I just had to give them the right information, right? And so that's what got me to that recognition of being a top salesman. It had nothing to do with my aggressiveness or trying to relate a sale or anything like that. It came from supporting a person on their reason for being inside of my store at the time. Well, I was introduced to a company that specialized in identity theft protection and legal services. And I'm a patriot at heart. I've always been about our rights. I've got old pictures of me dressed like the Statue of Liberty with my mom's hair clipped in and a Bible and an incense holder, you know, and it hit me. I was like, I love America. You know what I mean? And everybody deserves to know what their rights are.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to gain access with the average attorney costing $200 to $300 an hour. Most people just sweep stuff under the rug. And I didn't like that. my experience is I become a member of this service and I couldn't get a security deposit back. And my grandfather worked for the company, that's why I became a member, and identity theft scared the crap out of me. And so I wanted the service to protect my family. It wasn't about me. I had my blinders on for me, but I wanted to protect my family.
Yeah.
But I used the legal services, got my security deposit back with just a phone call. And that's really when it clicked for me. And I'm like, look, everybody deserves to know where they stand. And so the passion kind of started to burn inside of me that, like a good movie, I would have shared that information with somebody anyway, whether I was getting paid on it or not.
Right.
And so I actually naturally referred 3 people to the local rep that was working for the company. And he comes back, he goes, hey man, all those people want the service. And I'm like, fantastic, way to go get them. And he's like, no man, like I can teach you how to do this too. And I wasn't in a position to do it, so I thought, but he showed me how simple it was. I put him in, I made like $474. Around my full-time job, I'd saved $500 on my security deposit, so I was up $1,000 because I decided to take a chance on me.
Yeah.
Right. And the rest, so they say, is history. I just started chipping away for the next few years, and now I focus primarily in the business-to-business side of it,
Right.
and I work with other entrepreneurs and insurance professionals, and it's opened up the opportunity to do other little entrepreneurial activities as well. In the old automotive world, I had one stream of income. Now I've got multiple. Right, there's one primary, but it's allowed me to open up other income streams.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm trying to do the same thing. But I got to tell you, I found out about your legal service, and I came to you and we talked about it, and I've had it for 10 or 12 years consistently. It's one thing I absolutely won't get rid of.
Hear that?
Is my legal service. No way.
Yeah, it's just different because everything we do is governed by law. Everything. But if we don't know our rights, we really don't have any.
Yeah.
Right? And identity theft is at an all-time high and has been for years and years and years. And we know that people are struggling just to make ends meet, let alone have it stolen from them.
Yeah.
It's just too easy to get ripped off nowadays. So I'm kind of an advocate for justice on both sides so that your information remains yours. I believe that my kids have the right to screw up their own good information if they want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they don't. We got them on the right track. But it should be our choice. But there's so many people out there that don't think like that and just want to take advantage of everyday people. And that's what pursued my passion to want to trailblaze it, so to speak, in this area.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. I'm asking everyone who comes on the show, what is your mindset? I mean, every day you've got to get up. I mean, being a business owner, one thing that we all have in common, we absolutely must show up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I've discovered it's really a mindset.
Yeah.
What is your mindset?
So in the beginning, I was just influenced by the world around me, right? I just kind of let the wind blow me where it was going to blow. And I learned about a guy named Jim Rohn, that rest his soul. But he said something that really stuck with me, and he's like, work harder on yourself than you do your business because you're an extension of everything you do, right? So I continue to grow the mindset, and so when I wake up in the day, I try to do something that is, whether it's motivating or working out or just something that gets me into that positive state of mind so the rest of my day can move forward. So I try to do a combination of exercise and reading and things like that because I believe in the power of the 1%. Right? If we keep doing these little 1%ers, it'll help us build up to a total picture of greatness, however that looks for you.
Yeah.
But I'm constantly trying to improve me so that I can be more valuable to those around me. Right? And even in capacities that I may not work in, I like being a resource for people. And so whether I monetize that or not is not super important to me. I just want to leave people better than I found them. But it starts with the mindset. And Jim Rohn said it best. He had this acronym, PAARL. And everything starts with our P, which is our philosophy, right? And our philosophy will lead to our attitude. And our attitude leads to our actions. Our actions get to us to our results, and our results determine our lifestyle. And so for me, it all starts right here. Yeah. And so you've got to keep building this because this is critical and affects everything you touch.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. That's fantastic. Jim Rohn is one of my absolute favorites.
Me too, man.
I listen to him all the time.
For sure.
That is the common thing with business owners. They are typically go-getters. They want to go after their best life, become their best self. I found that it's not about greed. I know it's not about greed for you and money for you. What is it about for you?
Well, I think we all ultimately want to have some freedom, right? Whether that's freedom to travel, freedom to spend time with family. I got my little girl here with me today. Like, those things are the most important things, right? So I always told myself when I was young that I was going to bust it while I was young so I could live comfortably in my later years. I don't need to be filthy rich, and if I was, I'd probably give most of it away.
Right.
My grandmother started the Dixie Care and Share years and years and years ago, and it's always kind of just inspired my heart, right? But I have a dream of passive income where I don't have to work, and it continues to flow in because I've set up systems and businesses that bring value to people that I can feel good about and lay my head on my pillow at night, right? And know that I built this empire of value.
Yeah.
So the long-term picture is definitely to spend more quality time with the family, but in the beginning stages, you kind of sacrifice that, to be completely honest. You know, working from home is a blessing and a curse at times. And people say that you got to find balance, but I don't know if I believe in that balance per se. Like, you got to be off balance on purpose. And what I mean by that is when you're working, you should be working. And when you're with your family, you should be with your family, right? There's not blending them together at the same time. It doesn't work very well that way because you don't give your family the attention or your business attention. They deserve full undivided attention, you know? And so for me, it's about building a legacy that I can not only enjoy in my later years, right? Or even now, because I have a very flexible lifestyle, right? Like, for what it's worth, I may not be the richest person, but I've been told I'm some of the wealthiest I know because I dictate my own schedule. You know, I've got a home, I've got kids, I've got good health, and it's because of what I've done to discipline myself into that direction. And so I'm not there, in my opinion, yet where I really want to be, but to answer your question directly, it's not about greed, it's about leaving a more positive footprint than I found the world, right? And building a legacy that my family can be proud of as well, and we can be comfortable, because I'm not just going to give my kids the farm. They're going to learn their own things and build their own things, right? Absolutely. My legacy might fund the family vacation when I'm gone, right? But that's it's about bringing them together. And so for me, it's if I had to summarize it, I want to be that grandpa over the mantle fireplace generations from now. They'd be like, because of him, all our stars were changed.
Yeah, that's
right?
great.
We're all different because of his belief in us as people and family and what he started.
That's great. That's great. If you could summarize your mindset into one word, or what would it be?
Developing. Because it doesn't stop. I want to keep growing. Right? What is it? Tony Robbins said it best: when you're not growing, you're dying.
Yes.
So I'm constantly growing. It comes back to that 1%.
Yes.
It's always developing. I can always be a better father. I can always be a better spouse. I can always be a better entrepreneur. So developing.
Yeah, absolutely. We are meant to evolve as human beings, and if we're not evolving, you know, we're devolving. We just want to devolve. So we're meant to evolve and grow. And I love watching your journey, because every time I see anything about you, you're always doing something new, something fresh, something exciting, and it gets people going. It blends people together. But one thing I notice that you do is you give back. You do a lot of giving back.
Well, I appreciate that. I learned early on that, you know, you get what you give tenfold. I don't know if that's true, but I'm okay to lean into it. You know what I mean? Right. And in my beginning years, I didn't have a lot of free cash, so I couldn't just really give that. And I started, you know, being inspired by my grandmother and her philanthropic, or whatever that word is. You don't have to be smart to do business. that word of giving back. and anyway, I got derailed on that joke. But I was like, one thing I can give is my time. Right, where can I give my time? And so I started looking at, you know, like Jubilee of Tree organizations and the Boy Scouts of America and things like that, to where I could give my time, because I was like, hey, if I can get 10 times my time back, that's what I really want. I want more time with the family, more time on this planet to make a difference. Yeah. Right? So I've been a volunteer at my local Chamber of Commerce for over 5 years. You know, it's a non-paid position because I love businesses and helping other business owners grow. Right? I've done numerous other volunteer activities in the community, whether it's trash day pickups or, you know, whatever that may be, ribbon cuttings and things like that, because I want to go out and support. And, you know, I don't have a huge influence, but the influence I have, I want to, if I believe in it, I want to connect other people to, as we talked about before, rise all ships, right? So I believe, and this was not my cliche, a guy by the name of Darnell Self mentioned this once upon a time, and it's always stuck with me, but I lean into it and believe it full-heartedly, that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. Okay? In fact, the candle that wasn't lit actually gets spark, it gets life, it gets warmth, it's a tool now. Like, giving to others is not 1 + 1 = 2. It's way beyond that. So I love to give wherever I can, almost to a fault even. You know, it's like, it doesn't need to be for my benefit as long as it's for theirs. Now, that doesn't help with the win-win-win effect, so you've got to find some value for yourself, even if it just fills your cup internally, knowing that what you did today was a good thing. Yes. Yeah. So kind of catch that ripple. I don't believe there's enough love in the world.
I agree. I mean, you're an outstanding person. I mean, if you are in need of legal services, obviously, come to you. But what else do you do? We know that you do legal service. What are some of the other businesses?
Well, it's interesting. So I'm a blended family, and years ago I responded to an ad for fireworks, right? And then that ad didn't work out, but I knew somebody in fireworks. I reached out to them. They just happened to be needing somebody to take over a location. And I was like, well, what do kids like more than money? I guess is fireworks. And so we started running a fireworks stand to bring together our blended family, and we could use a little extra cash. Let's say, so let's not be unrealistic. Extra cash is nice, and I'm able to donate some to other organizations, like we did the Special Olympics for our local, with the Trailblazers here in Southern Utah. We donated to them last year. But the idea was to give us some extra cash and maybe fund a family vacation, because coming from the grind, we never had family vacations, right? So I was like, I'm going to fund a family vacation and hopefully bring this family together a little bit. And I'll have to say that it worked. Like we had our family vacation. It was great. When people were like, what cause are you donating to this year? And at the time, it was just my family. I was like, my family, because we need our own charity. And not only that, but I want to bring the family together. Yeah. And it was awesome because this will be our 6th year doing it. And we've created these relationships. People come back yearly and they ask about the kids. They ask about all that. My little girl, and really all the kids have become those little entrepreneurs because of the fireworks stand, right? And we get raving reviews because we care. Like, people don't realize that there's more to fireworks than just buying fireworks. We help them with their budget, we help them create a show, we help them strategize. We do all these things that are just more than just buying fireworks. And so that's one of the things. In my industry of the identity theft protection, I also created a target game that you shoot with a Nerf gun. It teaches people about the different areas of identity theft. So if you're at benefits fairs or trade shows or things like that, and it's evolved into other industries like insurance and other expos. So I can make these Nerf gun targets for like every industry. And so it's created a different cash flow stream. I also own a mobile motorcycle dyno business. So
a mobile
motorcycle dyno. So it's inside of like a 30-foot trailer, and you can pull motorcycles up into it, strap them down, and we can tell you how fast you go from 0 to 200, your horsepower, your torque, like all that. And it's good for diagnostics too. Somebody could say, pulling a hill, I misfire, and we can recreate that scenario and diagnose the bike inside of a controlled environment versus trying to do it while you're driving down the road. And with that, we want to give back to more too. I'm talking to local bikers organizations about doing charities and fundraising to give back to what their causes are. Right. And so those are a couple of the things that we've done. Just because we've had the opportunity to. I've had some other little startups that we've tried that just didn't work out because of other leadership challenges, but constantly looking at other things and kind of pushing the envelope. I've got a nonprofit in my head I'm not going to share a ton about with, but it's going to save kids' lives. And I found a demographic of where kids are pretty much the #1 fatality on the road, and I want to change that. I want to help them with their driving. And so I've got a nonprofit that I'm working on pursuing right now to help kids learn how to drive at a young age.
Excellent.
So awesome. Just a handful of things.
Fantastic. And you're, like you said, developing.
Yes.
Constantly developing, constantly growing, constantly moving forward.
Yeah.
Just like you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, if you're not growing, you're dying. Thanks, Tony.
Right. Well, how can people get a hold of you and in touch with you? How would you like to tag this? How do you want
not hard to find. Orion Parker. There's a couple of us out there, but there's only one me. A direct line 435-705-6379. My legal services and identity theft. It's simple to find. OrionHelps.com. But my email empower@orionhelps.com.
Ah, there you go.
I want to radiate empowerment to others.
I love that.
So.
Well, thanks for joining me here and talking a little bit. It's so great to let the community who don't know you get to know who you are.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, and before we close out here, you guys, Raven's awesome. I've been inspired by him ever since we met. Okay, the guy's a rocker and a genuine carer through and through. And I was just sharing with him how much I enjoyed a little Christmas party where he came and jammed with the kids and got them involved. And I know that Raven's heart's in the right place and that he cares. And it's another reason I accepted the invitation for this interview, because this isn't a grandiose statement, but I've had other people ask me to interview and I've told them no, right? But it's because I don't really know them and I don't know what their ideologies are, and I know Raven's. I know he's a great guy and that he means well, and he's a protector of people and truth and all kinds of things. And so I'm honored to be invited. I honestly am. I know you didn't know I was going to say that, but I did.
No, I didn't. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Half of this we didn't know we were going to say.
It's not all unscripted.
That's right.
That's the charm of the whole thing.
That's it. It's got to be raw and real, because that's life.
That's right.
You know what I mean? We're not sugarcoating nothing.
Right. So. Exactly. Well, like I was telling you, my goal is to get everyone understanding that business owners in the community are actually amazing people.
100%.
I haven't met really a business owner in our community that is been a bad person.
Sure.
You know, they have a goal of developing and empowering and living their passion and helping their family and helping other people. And I just haven't met anyone as of yet that is just about themselves and doing people in or anything like
Sure.
that. And I think that needs to shift, the thinking of some people that may consider business owners as being greedy and whatnot. I think it needs to shift because that just really isn't the case.
It's true. I've found, and I didn't have this thought process when I was in corporate America, but I found the people that have success that we see it as in life have worked their tail off. They have gone through the grind, and those are the people you usually see not only on the golf course on Wednesday, but volunteering in their community because they care.
Yes.
Right? They really genuinely care, and you'd be amazed at some of the things they've done without any recognition because they just want to do it.
Right.
But there's this misconception that you're so lucky. That's not the truth. Luck comes from hard work and dedication, and luck's just a cousin of those things, right? It just aligns when you continue to just show up and show out, right? Or go all out for whatever it is in a positive way, energy, right?
Yes.
It comes back to that energy. And so, is there some people out there that are greedy and maybe stepping on people? Sure, but that's not by and large the majority of business owners, especially in your local economy. And while we're here, before we sign off, support your local businesses as much as you can because they're the first thing that helps stimulate your local economy.
Yes.
You know, I could go online and buy insurance, no worries, probably save a few bucks a month. Or I could go to my local rep, buy insurance from him, and have a local voice in case something goes wrong versus 1-800 call center.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
And it stimulates my local economy. And so I know it's easier a lot of times to just go online and buy something. And obviously that's not what we're here today to talk about, but your local business owners have really taken the time to show up for themselves and their community to make sure you get the best experience. And so support them.
Absolutely. One last question before we do sign
Let's do
off.
it.
A young person getting started, not sure what direction to go. What kind of advice would you give them?
I think one of the best pieces of advice anybody starting off in business or entrepreneurship is look around you and see who your influences are. Because you are the sum of those 5 people you hang out with the most, right? If you want to be broke, hang around 5 broke people. If you want to be ornery, hang around 5 ornery people. If you want to be successful and positive and growing, go find some of those relationships. Get out in the community, network with some people that are like-minded, and ask good questions and then take the advice. Don't be offended. Like, you're going to grow. You have to grow. And there's not really comfort in growth, right? In anything, whether it's our muscles, our minds. Be comfortable being uncomfortable and start growing yourself. And the best way to do that is through really good relationships because everything in life starts with a relationship. Every opportunity you've ever gotten in your life, I bet you $100 you could stem it back to a relationship. Doesn't matter what it is, somebody connected you somewhere to where you are right now. And if you want to be connected to something higher, evolve those relationships.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, thank you so much, my friend. Man, I can't wait to get you back on.
yeah, absolutely. Look forward to it. I love talking about it. I love inspiring. I love what you do as well. And so I'm open invitation, man. I'll take it.
Appreciate it. Let's go inspire some people.
Let's do it, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Okay, check out Orion Parker at orionhelps.com.